Right, for today's video, a bit of a, well, not a strange one, but I've basically been asked to just put an alternator on. So that's what I'm going to do. It's a 2010 Sorento diesel, and it's actually the same engine that's in sort of anything up to like anything up to sort of 2019, 20. It's still the 2.2 diesel CRDI engine, so it does go across anything from sort of 2010 all the way up to 2019, 2020, before the hybrid and the newer shape came in. I don't exactly know the fault. I am going to sort of go through a diagnosis anyway, but I am going to fit the alternator. It's all I've been asked to do, so I am going to do that, and you never know, I might even find something. Apparently it's already had 2 alternators on it. They've both been faulty. I mean, I can't see it, but we'll find out. And I think the one that I'm putting back on, the guy has had his repaired and reconditioned, like the original, like genuine one. So we'll do that. So I'll get it on the drive, get it jacked up, and I'll sort of run through a diagnosis and go from there with it, really. Yeah. There isn't a battery light on, as you can see. There's no warning lights on or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and we're getting 12.2, 12.4 at the battery. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my negative on there, and I'm going to put my red on the back of the alternator, and we'll see what I'm getting there. So again, we're getting 12. So we're getting 12 volts at the battery and at the back of the alternator. So that shows me that there's not really any resistance in the wires. If you were getting 14 out the back of the alternator and 12 at the voltage, there's a breakdown in the current flow, if you will, a resistance, high resistance in the wire. I don't think there is that. Checked all the fuses, because you've got big alternator fuses, so you've got a big 170 amp fuse. Normally the one on the battery is a big alternator fuse as well, but they seem fine. Now it is charging at 12 volts, so it's probably just enough to not keep the battery battery light on, and it's probably enough to maintain the battery for a certain time period. But it's not over, you know, a course of a few weeks, something, it's not enough, and the battery will run low. The battery only has to be below 12.2, and then that's classed as a flat battery. So I think the next step is to take the alternator off. So now we're ready for stripping it. It's jacked up, the under tray's off, and the side tray. First thing before doing anything, alternator start or anything, take your negative off, just and then there's no off to the rest of the car, so when you're taking off your big wire, you know you're not going to get a shock. So next is belt, so getting the belt off. Now before you do anything like this, it's always a good idea to take a picture or draw yourself a little diagram. So that's obviously rough, but you know, I always label them as well. So WP, water pump, idler, power steering, idler, alternator, air conditioning, tensioner and crank. Just shows you which way to go around, because some of them are massive. So the next step is I'm going to do the tensioner, which is that one there, but the bolt for it is actually on the pulley, so there. So I'll loosen that off, get the belt off. Once the belt's off, guys, as you can see, it is off. We're going to take the water pump, the power steering pump off at the top. Now just bear in mind, if you are doing this on a later one, like I said, the engines are the same, so they're in sort of the same layout. The alternator is still at the front left, but it's not got hydraulic power steering. It's electric, so the power steering pump wouldn't be there. And I'm sure on the newer ones you can take them out from the bottom, so you've got enough give and the subframe isn't in the way as much, so you can take them out from the bottom. So you just drop the air conditioning pump and drop it there, but on this one I'm going to bring it up from the top, so I'm going to take the power steering pump off. This is the old one, like I said, reconditioned though. Had a proper job done, to be fair. Now when putting a new alternator on, If you ever take an alternator off and you put the same one back on, you'll find that this pin is pulled out. So what it does, your bolt goes in and it pulls this out and clamps it. If you're putting the same one back on, what I do is put the bolt back in once it's off and just give it a bit of a tap. Put some like WD around here, give it a tap and it widens out, otherwise you'll really struggle getting it in. But right, we'll get this on. So guys, it's all built up. I didn't need to record it all really, it's just the same but in reverse. So alternator, power steering pump belt on. I've dropped it down, it's literally done. Battery's back on. So I'm going to fire it up. So guys, as you could see then, I was getting two different readings. So I was doing it at the battery and I was getting, started off at 13.8 and then it's come up to 14.01, which is still good, all right. It's definitely going to charge the battery. At the back of the alternator though, I'm getting 14.22. So for me, in the main live feed going back to the battery, there's a bit of resistance, and that's where it's losing the 0.2 of a volt. It won't make a massive difference on this. If it was, for instance, charging at 14 at the alternator, but then only 12 like before, or even 13, you would notice a difference over a bit of period of time. So there is going to be some resistance in that cable. So obviously I will make them aware that I think that's where it's breaking down, but alternatively, the alternator was at fault, it weren't charging correctly, whereas now it's at 14. So again, another good job, not too much of a bad one. I hope you've enjoyed this video guys. Please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hopefully it won't be as long as what they have been.